guys, how you all doing? This is Seanie.T Tutorial here and welcome to my channel, and this is a little how-to today. We are looking at my bike, which is my work hack. It's a Honda Varadero 125cc 2005 plate, and I've just had a week's holiday and come back to find out it won't start. The symptoms is it's got plenty of battery. I've checked the battery, I've checked it running, it bumps off quite easily. The other telltale signs is when you put the ignition on, you have power, you press the button, and all there is just a click. There's just a click. So there's a few issues it could be. It could either be the starter relay, or it could be that on my bike the starter motor is located right below the front wheel, so it's taking all them elements off the road, all that water, all that salt, everything, so it could be seized in position. So it's receiving the power, it's just not being able to engage it or go through its circular motion or anything. So if we have a quick flick round. So as we are looking at it, you've got a very small light loaded wire which is off your thumb trigger, normally 3 to 5 amps, and that goes to your starter solenoid. So as you press that thumb trigger, you make the bridge across these two, and then that allows an electromagnet to form and pull in across these two poles here. Now these might not be exactly how they're supposed to be drawn. I'm not an auto electrician. I've just got an understanding of how these things work, and I'm going to have to fix my bike, so I might as well just show you guys in the process. So bear with me, and I hope I don't offend anyone or anyone that thinks they know better. That's absolutely fine. This is only my findings. So as we go and press the small button, your button on your hand controller, pull in the light loaded 3 to 5 amps, cause an electromagnet to bridge these two, which is a direct feed from your battery to your starter motor. Then that gives it the cranking amps from the battery. So then from the starter motor, that engages here. This circle here is, I know part of my drawings, is the ring gear, which can be located in various different points of the bike, but generally it's from the crank or of gears that run from the gearing that runs from the crank. So you've got your crank center here. This goes in a circular motion with the engine as it's turning, but it is on a ratchet, so it's only free spinning or sat still, and then it'll engage and push round in a circular motion once the starter motor here is engaged and runs on it and shoves it round. So there is various different kind of aspects to this. The ring gears can look slightly different, but generally that's only a very, very basic idea of how they work. So like I said before, mine is located right down the front, so it's probably seized. Test the battery comes back fine. I've got power because I can press the button, I can hear the ting as the electromagnet tries pulling in. So I would think, hazarding a guess, but you can test it using, set your tester on 12 volt DC, touch the red on the main heavy wire going into the starter motor and the black on the chassis somewhere on the frame, and if you push the button again you should get a voltage feed going in. Now if that's the case, you've got the power there, you aren't getting the circular motion. So the next thing is to strip it down and have a look. It could be a carbon build-up, it could be seized up from the water and the salt off the roads. Something is stopping that from either spinning or spinning and engaging, however that starter motor may work. This one I think is just on a ring gear, like I said before, so it just sits there, and when you put the power in it spins. If not, it sits there spinning freely or idling over the ring gear when the bike's not in use. The bike bumps off perfectly fine, runs perfectly fine, and it's charging. So we're going to stop the camera, get set up, and we're going to quickly whip off the starter motor and have a look. Just usually as a bit of a tip before you start, a lot of places recommend this, or a lot of mechanics recommend doing this, and Haynes manuals and such. Make sure your bike's clean. If you can get the bike clean, or the area where you clean, pressure washing or however, before you start, that's good, because if you start opening crank covers and things like that, you don't want any foreign bodies getting in there. Not only that, you're going to have to change your oil again, but they can also create a lot of damage if that starts circulating around your engine. In this situation I'm not going to power wash mine because I've got a feeling that it's probably water contamination and salt that's caused mine anyway, so firing a load of water at it is probably not the best thing. So I'm going to put my safety glasses on, and I'm going to get compressed air and a little brush, clean around it, compress air all off and get it as clean as possible. I'm going to remove the starter motor, and then we'll have a quick look. I'll try and capture as much of this on video as I can, and I will probably have to speed it up for the boring bits and clips like that, and maybe put some music on the top or something, but for all the crap that you don't necessarily need to see. But for all of you out there that is going to take this on and have a go at something, I hope this works for you, and I hope it gives you a bit of an insight into how these things work. Like I say, I'm not a mechanic, I am actually an engineer, but I'm certainly not an auto electrician judging by my drawings, but I do have a basic understanding of how these things work. So I hope to share that with you, and that this might be useful for you. Right, I'll get set up and I'll see you soon. Right, so using a 10mm socket, we can remove the 2 bolts that hold or secure the starter motor to the engine. And hopefully, after taking these 2 bolts out, like most motorcycles, you should be able to just slide or manoeuvre out the starter motor. Right, there's the 2. This one, as you can see, is quite stuck, so I might have to just give it a bit of persuasion with a rubber hammer on the far side just to help knock it through. So guys, I know that was a bit short, you didn't get to see a lot, but what I've just found is, how I said, the starter motor is seized. I've just tried freeing it off, as you can just see, and knocking it to remove it from the bike, and it took quite a lot of impacting just to get it to start to break the seal. So I thought, out of curiosity, I'll just stick the terminals back on the bike and I'll just try and start it, because sometimes that knocking will free it off. So put the terminals back on, hit the button, works straight away. So that just proves what I was saying earlier. It's probably the starter motor in my situation, where it's been taking all the elements off the road, it's probably got water in and it's seized up. Now, because time's an issue to me, I've got a parents' evening tonight for the kids, I might just risk putting this back together for the time being and schedule taking it back to bits tomorrow. And what I'll do is I'll fully take the starter motor out, I'll strip it down, I'll video it for you, see what's involved, and what we'll try and do is clear it all out, get rid of all the old carbon off the bushes, and clean it, oil it, grease it, everything we need to do, and put it all back together so it's workable, so we can salvage it now before it becomes completely knackered and I have to buy a new one. And at this, it'll just extend its life a little bit longer. So just to show you, I'll tell you what, I'll just quickly stop it and I'll put the terminals back on the battery properly, and then I'll show you. Right guys, so just to recap, I've put the terminals back on the bike after giving it the knock with a hammer to try and remove the starter motor from the bike, and to find it is very seized after taking all these elements from the road. Just to prove that what I was saying to you right at the start of the video, with no preconception to or having to pre-taking this apart or to understand it for the sake of the video, I was doing this raw as I found it, talk you through what I was expecting to see and how it worked. And as it goes, luckily this time it's worked exactly how it is. So I told you right at the start, the battery was good. I'd already checked the battery, that I did do. It would bump off and it would run the bike to work and back, no problem. But the starter motor wouldn't turn over. If I pressed the button, it clicked, half the solenoid was pulling in to pull the main voltage in from the battery to the starter motor, but there was no circular movement from the starter motor. So therefore, with it being located right at the front wheel and taking all the elements from the road or winter, I'd kind of hazarded a guess to say that the starter motor was seized or locked in place and it wasn't turning the ring gear. So just to prove to you that my theory was correct, and just knocking it alone to try and remove the starter motor has freed it off inside. I'll leave it for the time being for today, because it's 2:15 already and I've got a bit of parents' evening for 3, so we'll reschedule this for tomorrow and we'll strip this, we'll remove the starter motor. Now we know there's an issue in there, we'll strip it down, we'll clean it all up and grease it and we'll put it back in, and that should extend the life of it. So hopefully if you can catch this like I have done at this point, it'll save you quite a bit of money. But just to prove that it'll now pull in, if we'll just flip the camera around on the button. Great. Something. Anyway, the starter motor, for the sake of the video, the starter motor's now working. So I know it's been a bit of a sketchy video, but I wanted to keep it a bit raw. I wanted to show you that it wasn't deliberately manufactured for the sake of the camera or dramatised or anything. This was as I rolled the bike in, I gave it the clean in the area I was going to work on, just to show you guys, in theory and how it would work. And hopefully, if you follow the principles of what I've just tried basically explaining there, you should be able to process of elimination and work your way through your electrical system on your starter motor side at least, to be able to get your bike to fire, or at least turn over if that's the issue. Right, I hope it's been useful to you guys, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in subscribing, hit that subscribe button, because we've got quite a few videos coming up. I hope it's been worth it. I hope it's been a little bit of an insight for you guys, and the fact I've had to do it in the garage and shove the Subaru outside in the rain, I hope it's all been worthwhile. Right, so until then guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
I am on a whole nother level. Girl, he only fucked you over cause you let him. Girl, I guess he didn't know any better. Girl, that man didn't show me ever. Do all I can just to show you you're special. Certain it's your love that holds me together.